Hello everybody, and I seem to have stumbled upon a bug in Blender 2.68 Alpha, or A, or whatever you want to call it. But if I go into Blender, I'll show it to you. Seems the bug has something to do with transforms and how space coordinates are handled, particularly the difference between global and local as far as I know. Let's get my cursor back to the center, so I'm used to left clicking. That has nothing to do with this. I am going to add. Alright, just a mesh. Cone. It's just like a placeholder to give you an idea. Maybe go yeah. I'm building up to it, so don't be in too much of a rush. Let's see what I'm going to show you. But you can reproduce this. This is pretty much why I'm doing this right now. So here we have our placeholder cone and our cube. And I'm going to add an armature of a bone. I'm going to turn the bone on to X-ray. Let's see, so we can see it. Okay, so this bone is at the 0 coordinate, and everything else follows it. So what I'm going to do is rotate it like so. And then I'm going to go edit mode. Add another bone, or actually extrude a bone, which will be see. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. And for this particular bone, I don't want it connected. And I actually want to select that bone and move it to the center. There. And it's just like an armature, like if you're going to have, sorry about that, but like if you are going to have a rolling cart, like the cone to represent whatever object you're going to have for the cart. And the starting cube, I'm leaving it in here, but I'm going to use that in place of a wheel because it's a lot easier to see that spinning than it would be to see an actual wheel spinning. Yeah, it's being weird with it, but it's just so you can see in detail what's going on here. So, go to pose mode now. We take this bone, or actually we take this cone, we take that bone, and we parent them. So it should be parented the bone. So you got the cone following that bone. And this bone is actually a child of the other bone, but we want it to be in charge of this cube. So do that. Add parent to bone. That should be fine. So now when we move this bone here, everything moves together. That's good. When we move that bone here, it should just be a cube. That's good. But our problem comes now with transforms and transforms used with paths. So what we want to do is this upright bone we want to spin like the cube is a wheel. So let's set that up. So we go constraints, and it should be what, transformation, right? So when this bone moves that way, which is the y-axis, if you can see down here, that's the y. So this bone goes along the y. We want this bone to spin, like, because this bone controls that cone up there, which would be like a cart or anything like that. And this bone controls the cube, which is in the place of a wheel. Could use a cylinder, but it's a lot easier to see the cube spinning. So, like I said, it's just something to demonstrate a bug. So, too fancy. So what we want is y. This is right here, right? So we want y to x. I'm just going to change it because I don't know if they get confused when you. We want y going into the x channel on a source to destination. And y distance shall be, what is it? Actually, we want 0 to 2 pi, right? 2 times pi there. And then x we want 0 to 360, but I think it's backwards, so we want 360. And there's another weird bug too, I may as well show it to you. If I go in, if I set this into imperial units, see the rotation units are in degrees and radians. But when you do a rotation transform, if I go back to that bone, I guess, one of these bones, hold on, this bone. If I go to that bone, oh, it's being weird again anyways. But it holds the rotation not in radians or degrees, but in feet. And I don't know why it's doing it, because, hold on, I gotta change this to rotation. Let's do this. But see, it's still showing feet. It should be showing degrees. Pretty sure that's not a scaling bug either. That's a foot symbol there, not a degree symbol. But it's just like a weird thing. So I'm going to go back and set this to none. Anyhow, it's just like another weird thing. It's trying to convert degrees to distance when you have this set to rotation. That's a bug. That's an obvious bug. So somebody needs to fix that. This one is fine, it's 2 pi. So now when I move this one, let's see, I should go back to the other one, turn it on, and extrapolate. Yes. Target. And target armature and first bone, which doesn't have a thing added to it. There, now it should work. So select second bone, grab it, and we can see our cube is spinning like it would be if it was a wheel. Our cone is moving along like it was a cart. Still a little backwards. Let me fix it. So, what, 0 to 360. And that should be in degrees, but like I said, when you set units to it, it doesn't behave correctly. So that's one bug. I'm working my way to showing you other bugs. Got that, and moving it around in space. I believe it is still set to world space. Yes? Yeah, world space and world space. Let me drag this out a bit so you can see. Right, so those are world space. So if I take this and let's rotate it along z-axis 90 degrees, just to show you. 90 degrees. Alright. And let's grab, and it's barely moving. If I clamp it to the X, shouldn't move at all, that's fine. But now let's change that to local space for each of those. Local space, and let's grab that and move it again. And you can see that it is still going, and if I go here, see how this is green is the Y in local space, and I move it along the X, but it should still be Y in local space. It's not handling it in local space like it should be. That Y should be rotated with the object, and it's not. So this is kind of a bug here, or to me it looks like a bug, because when you have an object follow a path, you want this part that's supposed to be like the wheel to keep spinning. So let's add a simple path. Curve path. Alright. You should be able to reproduce everything I'm doing here. So, where do I want to go? I want to scale it. Scale my path up. This 4 times. And let's see. Modern path. And we want to rotate z-axis 90. Yeah, that should be it. So now we have a path set up. Show you why this is a problem. You try to animate an object following a path. Alright. So let's get out of edit mode for that. Let's go to the armature. And we want that main armature that controls the supposed cart object that's following the path here. We want that to follow the path. Let's do that. Follow curve on path. So now we have this object following the path. Should be it, right? So, we gotta go path properties. And path animation. Okay, so it's moving like it's rolling along the path. That seems great. That's like what we'd want if we're animating a cart or whatever. So, looks good in that regard. But the problem is, okay, let's extend the path out. And I don't know how to fix this, so if somebody knows how to fix this, please tell me. But to me it looks like a bug, so let's grab that. Hit on the X. 4 or -4. 4 that way, and where's extrude? Here it is. Oops, that's not what I want. Anyhow, as you can see here, I now have a path curving so it turns 90 degrees. So now let's have our object follow the path. Remember, these are all set to local space, so for them, the y-axis should be whichever way they're pointed along this path. But what happens is they start out okay going one way, which is y in global space. But as the y in local space and global space turns 90 degrees, the cube object, which would be like a wheel or whatever, stops turning. And to me, it seems like if this is in local space, being evaluated in local space should turn with that object, which is assigned to that path because it's following that path, and it's not doing that. So to me, that is a bug. It needs to be fixed, because this breaks things when you're trying to animate, and this would be the fastest and easiest way to animate without having to get into scripting and stuff. So somebody get on it, figure out what the heck's going on here, because if you're trying to animate a cart following a path or a car following a path, anything with wheels, if it's following a path and it makes a turn, that wheel is just going to stop and start sliding, or in this case the cube stops spinning. But the idea is the same. It works along here, and all of a sudden, no, it's just going to scoot. So here's your bug for you. Hope that's good enough documentation. And please figure it out, or if there's some other workaround or explanation of why local space isn't being evaluated along where the object is pointing, put an answer in the comments or suggestion or anything like that. Alright, that's it.